Get mantra and meditation MP3s at jasongallant.ca.
Today I'm going to attempt to tackle a controversial subject about healing. And one of the things I want to say about spiritual healers and energetic healers is that some of them are amazing and other ones are more, let's just say, in the storytelling bracket. They're not immersed in truth. They're coming up with a story that is possibly more pleasant than the story that their client is living in. Which someone could say that there's not ill intent there. There can be some sort of level of assistance, right? Because usually it is a story that someone lives by that is torturing them. But one thing I want to explain, which is highly misunderstood by spiritual seekers when we come to discussions of the mind, is that there is a difference between experiencing something or making up an experience. Meaning you're creating a story and creating an emotion or creating a vision inside your mind, which is fiction, instead of observing and possibly having an opinion or point of view on what it is you're experiencing. Even if you have a misunderstanding of what you're experiencing, you are closer to truth than one who just comes up with a delusion and makes up some sort of fantasyland story in their mind and ignores what's before them altogether. I think we can agree about that. And the other thing I want to say is that there are some people who are very advanced in some way. You can put them in front of a false guru, a false healer, or a real guru or a real healer, and they'll somehow find a way to evolve amazingly from it. So in the end, the one thing that people really underestimate is that the teacher is important, but the student is just as important. The orientation within and how a student wiggles free from illusion. And sometimes they have to encounter supreme illusion in order to realize what illusion really is. It's like a homeopathic remedy. If any of you guys out there know what homeopathics are. It's like you're experiencing something so deeply that it becomes obvious to you, so that way you can let it go. But one thing I wish to make clear to you, or at least assist you with, is that spiritual practice is about immersion into this moment. And yes, as you're deeper in this moment, you'll become aware of many things. And your awareness continues to expand. Like, there are some things around me right now in the forest that I'm not aware of. But it is possible for my awareness to expand if I sit here long enough and become aware of the subtleties around me. But my point is, I'm not creating any of this. This is already here. And I'm just opening up to experiencing it. This is like meditation. It's like mantra. Mantra is to free from the mind. Well, what do we mean by that? When you free yourself from mind, you're freeing yourself from stories, or living in this story in your mind. You're freeing yourself from that story, and therefore you're purifying your awareness as far as you're not projecting your own idealism upon what you're observing. You allow the environment in you to dance and to observe and possibly come up with a hypothesis or a theory about what is really happening, or why this force does that. The wind is coming from there. Perhaps there's going to be clouds coming, maybe not, but you're open to the experience teaching you instead of you projecting what you think it is and saying that is truth instead of the truth itself, which is ultimately going to reveal itself if you're here for long enough. But it's here. Now, when you encounter a false teacher or a true teacher, it can be very difficult to discover which is which. Because sometimes the false teacher is much more interesting, right? The healer that says, oh, there's some stories and leprechauns and, you know, this stuff coming to save you, right? It's like, sometimes there's this story that they make up in order for you to get excited, in order for you to have a different story in the mind to cling to. Right? You're clinging to this other story of hope. Now, funny enough, just experiencing the hope itself, you could become aware of that coming from within you, regardless of whether the story is true or not. And that can have a profound healing effect. But the truest healing will free you from story. No matter which way you go, the false healer or the true healer, whatever, what you'll notice is that the freest healing or the truest healing will release you from story so that you are forever transformed. Regardless of what story's in your head, there's something in here which is much different than before, who is experiencing whatever story may be happening. The true healing is an absolute, total transformation of you. The lesser healing will be just a micromanaging of your story. Maybe we'll tweak the story here. Maybe instead of blue aliens, it's going to be green aliens. Maybe it's going to be a bigger spaceship that comes to get you to heal you, or you know, right? But the truest healing is the one who is experiencing all this, that transforms, where you are reborn. And your natural state is experienced, and here-ness infuses it. There's a deep fulfillment that comes, that is with you, regardless of what story is happening around you, regardless of what's happening in your mind. This is the truest healing. It's like a you reset switch. So some of you may be watching many healers or many people talk about supposed spiritual phenomenon or maybe true spiritual phenomenon, because sometimes, as they say, truth is stranger than fiction. There are some pretty crazy things that happen on this spiritual path. And what you may think to be true and what is really true, there is a dissonance there, because as we're expanding our awareness, we become aware of the forces of the universe in a deeper way. Just remember, the highest healing will not happen by clinging to story, by clinging to your point of view, which is a form of story, clinging to your idea of yourself, which is another story, clinging to what the pain in the body means, that's another story, right? If we're going to cut the head right off the chicken, we just let go of the story altogether. Where there is no story, there's just here. And here has a very beautiful experience that goes with it. An experience that has nothing to do with thought. or ideas or beliefs. It's like somebody hitting you with a cold bucket of water. There's no need for a belief to have that experience, right? It's just overwhelmingly obvious at that point. So your spiritual journey is about experience, the deepening of this, and who is experiencing, which also transforms your experience. But it isn't about living in an idea in your mind and that story changing from one step to the next and evolving. The story is not what this is about. Living in the story is actually the problem. Because living in mind disconnects you from reality. So a lot of times when you start on your spiritual journey, it's all about figuring everything out. If I think this, and if I think that, and if I think this, then this will happen, and I'll be happier, or if I have positive thoughts as far as negative thoughts. This is all micromanaging of the mind. But when you are no longer sitting in the mind as your home, then the micromanaging of the mind is not so important. And a few of you who understand what I'm saying in some way, if you are yearning to become free from the never-ending story this way, that way, you're really searching for enlightenment. You're not searching for another story. And you'll also notice that certain popular healers or occultists or spiritual people, all of a sudden, as fantastic as their story may be, you may find that you're no longer interested in what they have to say because it's another story. This is evolution. So experience here and now, allow it to be what it is, and realize that this will do everything it needs to do to evolve your experience. I hope this helps you on your spiritual journey. Take care for now.
Are you interested in working with a spiritual teacher in a formal setting? Well, perhaps the Wisdom Life School is for you. If you're interested in checking out what the Wisdom Life School is all about, just go to aratima.com.